Big up, big up, big up, big up. It is Liverpool 12th man here. I'm going to do a preview show for the Merseyside derby. Should be an interesting one. If you're joining me live, welcome. And if you are joining me, via replay, welcome too. So I am going to be, again, going over the Merseyside derby. It's going to be very interesting because question of who's going to be playing for us, who's going to be, wearing the red and starting for us during this Saturday lunchtime kickoff or lunchtime if you're in the UK, of course, but lunchtime kickoff of the 243rd running of the Merseyside derby. Pretty incredible how it's 243. That's a lot. It's a lot. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to bring up some previews of what I think the starting lines are going to be for both. Big up. I have some really good. I've grown to like, despite our last encounter, but I've grown to like a lot of the Newcastle fans that show love and absolutely do continue to be cool with like the interactions, everything else. Oh, big up, Nature Boy in the house. Big up, my guy. Definitely. Still want to talk a little Star Wars with you when you get a chance, brother. I want to definitely do that. I know that you're on the other series and everything else, but I definitely would like to see that. I'd like to talk a little Star Wars with Ahsoka and everything else. Been doing some great stuff. Big up to Brian Morrissey in the house. Definitely always a loyal supporter. He's infantry guy. So, I mean, like he always, the grunts are always there to go through and be loyal and be true. And that's what I appreciate immensely. So big up to you, Brian. Big up to Nature Boy. Big up to Corvo and UFC representing Newcastle, of course. And big up to anyone else that hops into the chat or ends up going on with a little bit of a replay. Just make sure you leave a comment, that like button and a comment, and I'd be appreciative of it all. So, okay. So I have a little bit of interesting ideas as to what and who we will be facing. So let's just start off with Everton first off, okay? And let's go into a lot of the players that are going to be obviously going to be available and everything else with that. And then I'll go into a little bit more in depth onto our club, Liverpool, or our club mostly, because I know a lot of my Mighty Reds are in the chat here. So, all right, let me just share this with you. And also, let me do one other thing too. I'm going to bring this up. And I'm going to pull this up too so I can show you what I am sharing. All right, so I can bring my camera back on now. I had to make sure it goes on. Sometimes it gets choppy and everything else. So I got this new. I'm taking advice from the internet genius in not trying to run so many things at once in the background. My computer has one of those live wallpapers, so I got to make sure that that's down and everything else. It can get kind of annoying. But all the same, big up to John Conway. John Conway, always representing. Big up, brother. Big up. Okay, so this is the team I think we're going to see us facing when it comes to this derby. I think we're going to see Calvert-Lewin starting at the top, Decore right behind him, but he's going to be a little bit more defensive. I know that he will help out in that it's more of a 4-4-1-1, but it sometimes feels more like a 4-5-1 in essence, because it tends to not be you tend to not see what it is that you're going to like actually get out of this club because they're so, Deitch is a more defensive-minded coach when it comes to, stressing defense and emphasizing the fact of that through the formations that he uses. So I think we'll see McNeil, Onana, Decore, Garner, Harrison in that midfield. I think we'll see Harrison, Brantwaite, Tarkowski, Young in that back line. And I think, of course, we'll see the dinosaur, Pickford. Sometimes I forget that he's not an actual Jurassic Park dinosaur, but it feels like that. At least it feels that way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Here you go. T-Rex arms in goal. Easy days at the office for Liverpool. Big up, big up. That is for sure. I think great minds think alike, I guess, because that's exactly how I look at Pickford. He's definitely a Jurassic Park extra. So I think this is what we're going to see us facing when it comes to what they're going to bring in. They're obviously going to try to park the bus. They're going to look to be more of a, a defensive-minded team, but they're going to be a defensive-minded structure for their formation, but they're also going to have it where they definitely will look for an opportunity if they ever get one, or if they can get one, at least. Yeah, right. So this is what I kind of see going on for their team. Is pretty much what you're going. This is pretty much what you're going to see for them, I think, honestly, because when it comes to Everton, the only player they have out is Dele Alli. To be honest with you, I thought Dele Alli had moved on to another club. But big up to Dele Alli, despite the fact that he's a Everton toffee now. I still think that it is mental health is a serious thing. I wish him well with what that's going on. I'm sure being injured doesn't necessarily help your mental stability when it comes to a lot of the things that you're going through. But all the same, he's the only player that's out. I think the doubtful is Gomez, Coleman, Gueye, but it looks like I know Ali had a setback when it it's regarding his recovery. He's had a slight setback to his injury, so I don't think we're going to see him. But we most likely, despite the fact that they're doubtful, we probably will see Gomez, Coleman, and Gueye possibly featuring in this game. I think that they might. They're hopeful that those players will be able to represent for them when it comes to it. So we'll see. Then let's move on to at least to our team. Okay. Oh, big up. Philly Liverpool FC in the house representing East Coast. Definitely. Big up, brother. Big up. Good to see you. Let's get into where we go, because I know Philly Liverpool FC is a little bit of a gambler like myself. So let's get into what we're going to probably see for Liverpool. And I put in a little cap. I was kind of torn between two different players possibly starting, and I've decided to go with this one. So I'm going to share with you this. Okay, so I'm looking at this being our starting lineup. I have Salah, Hatta, Diaz. Now Diaz is still a little bit iffy, but I would like to see him play, despite him having played during the international break for Colombia. I think I want to definitely see him pick up a goal this weekend because of the miss with the PK and getting those cobwebs out of his head and moving on past that would be exceptional. I would like to see Dom start, despite, again, a lot of these players, Dom, Endo, Diaz. I believe Hatta even had I believe Portugal had a game as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Salah. I don't think Salah played, had a game, but you know, all the guys, Virgil, Simicast, they all had starts. They all pretty much started over international break. So when it comes to fitness, it's going to be a very, very interesting situation when it comes for Liverpool. Let's see what. And again, put your comments in the chat because I love engaging with if you're a Mighty's Red Army, awesome. Even if you're not, even if you're a guest here, I enjoy engaging. You know, I think the one great thing about our forum is a lot of times the people that engage in our forums tend to be respectful and also appreciate the fact that they're amongst good company. So that's what I always enjoy to say. So let's see. Corvo is saying your front line when it's on forum is like a sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street for any opposition. Trust me, we know too well. Big up. See what I mean? Like that's a good person right there. And I know that there's been times where like, you know, you go into the banter, into the rivalry banter, or I mean, we're not necessarily rivals in the sense that that we're your main rival or something along those lines. But I know that sometimes you can get into some really, really ugly stuff, but not so much this time. I'm going to star your Philly Liverpool FC. I'm going to star what you think is going to be a score prediction because I'm going to hold that off until the end. But I definitely, if you have your scores, definitely include them. Or if you have some someone that you think will start in this lineup that I don't have, please interject it. I would love to see and hear what you guys feel or how you guys are feeling about this actual lineup. Because realistically, again, I'm seeing it as this could be a realistic lineup for us for certain reasons. Okay, and I'll get into those reasons right now. So, so as far as our team being Liverpool, Curtis Jones is still on a three-match suspension from that BS red card. So he's on the second game of the three game ban, so he'll be out. We're also looking at Kelleher being out. Looking at who he wouldn't have started, but still the same. Kelleher's not going to be on the bench as our second string goalkeeper. Thiago is going to be out. I don't want that to be a trigger for anyone in the chat or anyone that's watching this on the replay. Everyone knows that I'm a big Thiago fan, but all the same, there are those that have Thiago being their trigger. I think Bajcetic is going to remain out, as they are saying, because there's uncertainty of that. There are doubts that Cody Gakpo will be available for this game because of the knee issue. I know that Philly Liverpool FC just said this. He says, I think Cody starts up front over Diaz. Hata moves to the wing, or you could flip-flop during the game. Nunez off the bench at halftime. That's definitely a possibility if Gakpo is going to be included in the lineup. I don't know. There's not an absolute guarantee that he is. And being that it's a knee injury, or even though it's a strain on the knee injury, I'm not necessarily against Everton. I'm not necessarily saying that we need to have him in that lineup to be able to account for a victory over Everton. Let's see. Brian saying, I think McAllister starts over Endo. That could be most likely. The reason why I'm putting Endo in this role of finally getting a major start, I think it would be a major mentality, mental boost for Endo if he could get this start in such a huge game. Not to say huge as in like our level of competition is exceptional, but I'm saying huge as in it's a derby, and these games are always very intense, very, very heavily contested, and very important for the fan bases. So it would be a very big a mark for Endo to be able to get this start and be able to get a good start at that. So I didn't include McAllister as as Brian suggested, primarily also because of this. I know that McAllister, people are kind of in between McAllister's ability to go through playing a deep lying playmaker or being more of a DM for us. And we all want to see him more in that 8 role. Reason why I'm starting Endo and not starting McAllister is primarily because McAllister did have, matches. Again, I understand a lot of these players all had matches primarily for their national teams. But I would like to see McAllister get a brief moment of rest, give this opportunity to Endo. And I would like to see Gravenberch start. I don't know how people are feeling about that, but I'd like to see Gravenberch start on as that 8. I think that the work rate and the commitment and intensity that you would get from Gravenberch, because possibly this could be one of the top 3 work rate midfields, like as in the amount of pitch that they would cover, the amount of intensity that they would bring to the actual pursuit of pressing, the pursuit of just cutting down space, just the actual work rate of this middle 3 that I have, I think could be the top work rate, if you want to call it that, I guess, midfield. I don't know how you guys are feeling about that one, but I mean, I really think that when you bring this midfield on, we all know that Dom is a workhorse. That guy is just amazing when it comes to the amount of pitch that he covers. Endo, again, same thing. Endo is just the Energizer Bunny when it comes to having an engine to just continue to go, and he's just a lock-on missile when it comes to trying to go and take out problems defensively. Gravenberch, again, great work rate. I think that he's putting extra work rate, something that we didn't see, or wasn't really given an opportunity to, but we didn't really see in when he played in Germany for Bayern, because like here he's trying to he knows that this is a great opportunity. He knows that this is one of his real chance on a huge platform. So I think that if you had these 3 on there, wow, we're talking about a serious press that's going to keep the ball possibly in their half, and more so not only in their half but possibly in their final third. Okay, in Everton's final third. And I like how Diaz and Tsimikas' relationship, as in how they work well together. I think that they're definitely able to commit and everything very well. Possibly because Tsimikas being on the second team, when you do 11-11s, on the pitch against each other, you tend to grow bonds with those that you practice with, right? And chances are, even though Diaz has solidified himself as a starter for Liverpool, pretty much as the left wing option, there have been times when I'm sure Klopp has utilized Diaz on that second team as well as their first team when they're doing their 11v11s in practice. And that's why I think that Tsimikas possibly has created a bond with Diaz a little bit more so, especially since Tsimikas and Diaz were a part of this club. And back when Diaz wasn't a solidified starter for the club, he was probably working more with Tsimikas than he was with Robbo. And you see that relationship that has grown between Tsimikas and Diaz. It's something I think that we will hopefully be able to enjoy this weekend and going forward, while Robbo has an extended stay of recovery for his shoulder injury. So with that, again, I'd like to see this because I think that this could really, really kind of offset the concerns that people have with Tsimikas playing in that Robbo role of being if we're going to continue to have Trent in a inverted role, and we're going to utilize them in that inverted role by going next to Endo. And I think if anything, you might see if they do continue to have him that role, you'll continue to see him push up and everything else. Are you reading for the Phillies out there? Yeah. So yeah. It could be a benefit because then you'll probably end up seeing Trent go further forward, knowing that Endo is going to probably hang back a lot more in that pivot. You could also see somewhat of Endo maybe even filtering in as that fourth in the back line as Matip moves over to that right wing. I even think that if we could utilize it to keep the shape more, utilize Matip to continue to be in that as that center pairing and just have Endo fill into that right back role. I think that would be possibly a more substantial, ideal situation where he just kind of, if I could show you, where he just kind of goes from that mid to the that midfield pivot to a right back, kind of role in essence when we need a back four if necessary. But again, he could also play that right center back. I'm just saying that I'd rather see him as that right back as opposed to a right center back if we have the option of Matip or Konate playing that role. The back line I have again is Trent, Matip, Virgil, Tsimikas. Obviously, Tsimikas is going to be playing because of the injury. Virgil is our captain, obviously. He starts. Trent, is definitely going to start as well. I know that people probably have a question mark on Matip. I would like to see Matip play for this reason. The reason why I would like to see Matip play over Konate, at least in this circumstance, is only because I would like to see Matip add to our offensive abilities or capabilities by being able to carry the ball forward, do his progressive runs, progressive carries with the ball, dribbling the ball. We all know Matip. That's one of Matip's exceptional skills, something that he has over Konate. So with that said, if we had Matip in that role, I think that would be cool. We could utilize Konate later on. I'm not saying we don't use Konate at all in this match, but I would hope that Matip and Virgil get the full clip on this. And that way we could get another thing. Once again, like I said, big up. I get a lot of love from Newcastle, and I appreciate that. Newcastle, I hear, is a really great place it's one of the places I have on my list of places to visit when I do travel abroad over to when I will be traveling abroad over to England. Hopefully soon. I'll be certainly doing it once I reach a certain pinnacle when it comes to the number of subs that I have to get closer to, or hopefully be monetized by that thing. But big up to Jordy. It's good to see you. Pleasure to have you, despite the fact that we're not facing against you. I still showing love, and I appreciate that immensely. I was just saying, yes, I think that this could be the backup, just the back line. Does anyone have, I know that most likely, I think the only other possibility would be Konate. Do people really, do you think, I should say, because I know what I think, obviously, but, or prefer to see. I would like to see Matip. I'm not saying we will definitely see him, but I would like to see Matip for the reasons why I just stated. But yeah. Big up Chris Angel. Big up Chris Angel in the house. Chris Angel saying, I've been rooting for Endo, but I don't think this is the game for him. Everton is going to have no possession, in my opinion. I see Mac, Ryan, and Toretto. Okay. Definitely Mac, Ryan, and I don't know who's Toretto. Who's Toretto, Chris? I don't know who Toretto is. Maybe I'm going bad on my nicknames, so I know I got plenty of them too. I'll answer your question. I got you. I see you. You didn't answer my question. I got you. I'll get you I'll get it at the end. When I get your score highlight, I'll definitely get you at the end. And also, I am not a Yankees fan. I am not a Yankees fan, so cut that out. Don't say that ever, 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 ever. Oh, I got you. I I got you. I got you. Big the boss. I got you. If you put the boss, Toretto, then I would have gotten what you're saying. I get you. I get you. Um, so yeah, I understand why a lot of people probably can't see Endo starting this matchup, or at least in this match, or not being the match. I just don't think that they have that much going forward. I could see themselves. I could see us needing, obviously, another offensive threat. So honestly, yeah, I could see us utilizing McAllister in that role, or let's see who else we could possibly utilize. See McAllister in that role. Obviously, I don't think he's going to use Gravenberch as a DM and use and utilize Gravenberch and McAllister, or excuse me, Gravenberch and Elliott or something like that. Like really switch it up in that midfield, because that's a midfield that we did just see. When we saw Elliott playing that 8 role where I have Gravenberch. But yeah, let's see. So Brian, I'll show you what Brian's got. Because I already showed you what Chris has, right? I believe I showed you what Chris has. Chris, if you want, I mean, it looks like sounds like you have pretty much the same lineup, other than maybe Endo playing the DM role. I mean, like, I think that if we do see this, the reason why I think this could be a good game for Endo to start is because, if anything, you could just basically have Endo be that man marker on Calvert-Lewin, and possibly be able to just lock him down, not allow for him to gain anything going to him, be able to use Endo to cut off all the end spaces and cut off the lanes for him for any counters. And then utilize him as someone that, you're not looking for him to be an offensive player. You're just not. So I get that. We want to be numerically, dominant, and it's going to be very difficult if we're going against a 4-4-1-1, if not a 4-5-1-1, maybe even a 5-5-4-1, stuff like that against this team. And having that other player would be great. I think that the reason why I was saying that you're going to get a lot of that offensive thrust is going to be from the work rate of Gravenberch, the work rate of Dom bombing forward. Obviously, Simicast, Alexander bombing forward. You'll have Diaz, that's a natural creator, that's going to obviously be able to utilize his magic, and will most likely, I think, see a resurgence or maybe a flashback to Salah's old ways of taking on players, something that some people have noted. And I think it's going to be a big. I'm hoping and believing and wanting to see a big game from Hatta. I think that we could possibly get it from him this weekend, because he's there's going to be a lot of emphasis on us having a lot of possession in this game, and I would like to see Hatta sneak into a couple of spaces and get a score. Oh, big up K in the house, KLFC. Big up, brother. Big up. Good to see you. Good for you to join the party. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you think, Kay, as to how you're feeling, what you're feeling about this lineup that I have. You have some other people that you might think or see being thrown in here or there. Let's see. Some other notes that I had were let's see. The reason why I have the lineup as I did again is because Darwin started, played exceptionally well. I think that we will see him. I don't want to see him start. That's me being an ambassador, big fan. But I think that I would like to see him get a little bit of a rest, considering that there was a little bit of question with some of his fitness coming out of that big win against Brazil, being that it was like the first time in Uruguay. It was the first time in a long time. I don't know how many games, but it's the first time in a long time since Uruguay, since Uruguay has beaten Brazil, and on top of that, it was a big. He had a goal, he had an assist. As Chris was saying here, Nunez was having issues with cramping. Hopping on obviously he's going to be properly hydrated after the game and everything else, and I'm sure he got a good meal in him or two after that victory. But it's also a matter of hopping on a plane, getting back to practice, and then having to go through the rigors of all that. I think that I don't really want to see that happen. I think that also your point is well taken, Brian. He's saying we may have no choice if Hakpo isn't fit, and he looked pretty happy in training. Pretty happy in training today. The fact that he's in training is a positive start, a positive message. That means that he, at least that the injury, they're pressing him forward with the despite the recovery process, and that's positive. But I know it's a marathon, not a sprint. So when it comes to injuries, I'm the type of person that always says I'd rather see them take their time. I think we have enough depth to be able to take their time with getting players involved. Does it mean that we won't see him at all? No, we might see him for towards the end of the match or something along those lines. Sure, let him get in there. Have a run, maybe even score a goal or something like that if he gets the opportunity, of course. But I just don't want to see him get pressed into it. Let's see. Chris is saying, it is a blood circulation and dehydration issue we want to get if you want to get technical. Okay, so if it's a blood circulation and dehydration issue, that's something that I don't really want to, roll the dice on, because he's our only option, or it's so necessary. Now, this is a question. If Hakpo isn't, this is a great question. If Hakpo is out, let's say, I don't think he will be out. I think he will be on the bench. But if he's on, normally when you see him in practice, you'll see them in at least the lineup, or not necessarily the starting lineup, but at least the lineup in general, on the bench, that is. But what's our front three? That's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. And I don't know if I would say that I see, again, with what Chris was just mentioning earlier, I don't want to see Nunez be pressed into. I know Nunez will want to play. I know Nunez will hope and look to play. I don't want to see Nunez have to play, put it that way. But if it means Nunez coming in as a sub later on the game, I'm cool with that. I know that's going to be an interesting predicament, because then, yes, you have Hakpo, you have Nunez, and both of them most likely wanting to play that nine position. It's going to be, you're going to see you're going to get what you get, I guess you could say. It's the best way of putting it. Big up to Marion. Marion, big up. This is a big game for your household. I'm sure of it. I'm very sure of it. I don't know if you and your hubby are going to watch in separate rooms, or if you're going to even go to the game, or what's going to be the case, but it's going to be a very interesting set of circumstances for the Southward household, for sure. But big up, thank you for tuning in. And she's saying hello, and big up to all the Reds in the house. I'm with you on that. To Chris, to Brian, to Kay, to John, all of you guys, big up, and big up to our Newcastle boys in the house, to Jordy and Corvo in the house. Big up to all that are attending the preview here. Let's see. To Brian's answer, it says, So it's saying Diaz isn't fit to be fair, and so is and neither is Nunez. I think he means. Let's see. Philly Liverpool FC is saying will probably be one of our young wingers. I mean that's a. I mean, like, look, if Diaz doesn't start and you don't have Nunez to start either, or Hackbo, and you don't, let's say if you don't start Diaz, you don't start Hackbo, you don't start Nunez. Let's just say hypothetically those three don't start. Then in my book, you put Elliott in that role. You give Elliott a chance to be that creator. I think that it'll be very, very cool to see. Elliott has played that position once or twice, or at least at some point in his lifehood. And I think you could see that. You could see him possibly playing that left wing position. At least that's how I see it. I mean, I'm a big Elliott fan. I like Elliott's game. There's parts of it that I would like to see evolve and continue to grow. But yeah, I would possibly put Elliott. Obviously, I'm not going to start Salah. I'm not going to start Doak or Elliott over Salah, and I'm also not going to move Salah to the left wing, which he possibly could do, but I don't want to see that happen. Especially, I'm not going to put him into a role when he's naturally a right winger or a right inside forward. Big up to Baz. Everyone's showing up, popping in, saying what's good. What's good. Grab yourself a plate. So, it's like it's the preview barbecue. Grab yourself a plate. Big up to Baz in the house. LVFC TV in the house for sure. I think Doak. I don't know if I don't have Doak as being injured. So here are the people that I have injured. Let's see. I have so obviously Darwin, Diaz, and McAllister are simply question marks because they played this weekend. I know Alisson Becker's got a late return from World Cup qualifying duty with South America. I know that, let's see, Simicast obviously will play. Matordu is going to play, or given a chance to play. Hata's going to be there. The outs that I had for this, okay, so let me just go down to where I have my notes for my outs. Let's have some fun facts that I'm going to jump into before we get to goal scores. So I have Hata being back in. I have obviously Jones being out, Thiago being out, Bajcetic being out. I have the only doubtful I have is Cody Hackbo. So I don't believe, from what I saw or what I got the information from, is that, or what I've read and my notes are saying, is that I believe Doak is available. So I'd like to see, I think he'll most likely be on the bench, and I think you'll also see some other youth players. I'm calling them youth. They're youth only in age. They're adults, so and they're playing the senior team. So I'll give them respect for that. But yeah, I think that. I think that's the case when it comes. That's at least the notes I have for who we have out, who we have coming back in, and who we have as doubtful, being Cody Hackbo as the only doubtful person to possibly not be included. Let's see what else. A noticeable thing with a lot of this is, and I'll just bring this down since we're pretty much done with the lineups. What I'm also looking at is that I'm looking at, Everton is an interesting situation. Everton are a team that you never know what you're going to get with them. But when it comes to derbies, they step it up. They always play different. They always play with more intensity, more concentration on trying to get a result. They don't necessarily win too often. I know, let's see, against us or in general. Okay. Okay. And I'll give you your subs as well. Definitely I'll give you your subs. But Everton have 1 point Everton had 1 point in their first 5 matches. That was a draw against Sheffield United. We all know that Sheffield United is a team that's struggling this year, that doesn't necessarily have the fortitude to possibly stay up in the league. They're definitely going to be battling relegation. Everton have now, with the win that they just had, they're now 2 wins out of the last 3. Okay, so Everton could say they're slightly on a step up from pushing away from that relegation battle. I think they still are going to be there. If you look at the thumbnail, I know hopefully thumbnail was interesting. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it was funny that apparently there was a place that had a Everton kit, and they had the Everton kit, but yet they had them already in the championship. So maybe it's a little bit of, maybe this game could be one more game helping them get towards that level. But I'll do reckless banter alone. Let's see. The first victory they had was against Brentford, which is very interesting. And let's see, what else did they do? Oh, and Bournemouth was a win for them, which was at Goodison Park. But what was very interesting about the Bournemouth win was that they scored 3 goals, something that they don't do very often, is score a lot of goals, much less score goals in general at all. So that was unique for them. They're now in 16th place, and that's all well and good. But Liverpool, oh my gosh, Liverpool, don't ever, I hope that's probably going to get clipped, but it doesn't matter. It's cool. You can say this is, if we're going to do a combined 11, the Liverton combined 11. But anyway, Liverpool have won all 5 home games this season. What's some other cool stats that I found for this? Let's see. Out of the 52 times that we've had this, Liverpool have only lost 17 derbies since Klopp, which is very interesting. Have lost only 1 of 17. Excuse me, I don't know what I said that, but 1 of 17 derbies since Klopp has become the manager, and have beaten only 5, and incredibly have been beaten only 5 times in 52 matches. I believe that's the number. 5 times out of 52, that's the only time they've been beaten. Another some other cool stats, some fun stats to drop when you're like in the pub or hanging out with your friends, or maybe you're like hanging out with online during a watch along. Again, Everton have only beaten Liverpool once in their last 28 matches. Liverpool haven't kept a clean sheet in their past 4 league games. This, I'm hoping, will be the start of breaking that streak. Let's see. Everton have scored in the last 6 of their past 7 matches. Again, I hope that this will be, they've scored in 6 of their last 8, hopefully, with this match. Let's see. Salah has 5 goals in 9 games against Everton, which is a fun fact. Liverpool have had a 2-0 victory. They've had a 0-0 draw, 2-0. There was that game when we went to Everton and we really, really brought it to them. That was during the 2021 year, where we were just in really, really good form at the time, at least when we were playing Everton, and we ended up beating them 4-1. And then you have to go all the way back to February of 2021, which is the last time Everton got a W against us. And but that was at Liverpool, which was unique. But also that 2-0 victory that they got against us was also a match where it wasn't in front of fans. It was a closed house engagement. So some fun facts. So let me go into some of these comments. Let me get into some of these comments before we get too far. Because I want to, if you guys can, while I go into some of these comments, let's get in your score predicts, because we're going to definitely get into the predictions for the scores. Despite the fact that I hate doing that, I'll still do it for laughs and giggles here. All right, so let's see. Marion is saying Liverpool 12th man. There will be a punch up whoever wins. So come on, Liverpool for sure. Again, her household is a red and blue household, so it's going to be very interesting time in the Southward home for sure. But big up to you both. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, this is the comment that I had earlier. Elliott to start is a big no for me, but I see it happening, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that I know Chris isn't big on. I know he had him as one of the 3 people he would sell, and he's also one of the players that he's not very big on his performances or his abilities. But it's cool. It's cool. We can all have opinions. Let's see. Some other comments that I have. Let's see. Philly Liverpool FC's score starred. This is what it says. You can make a case for Endo, and you have at length for sure. Right? For sure. Endo. Wataru is my guy. He is my Nippon brother for sure. Big up to Nippon, definitely. Domo. So yeah. Domo to Watoru. But so let's get back into it. I mean, I'm not going to whip out my Japanese, my bad Japanese. I haven't spoken Japanese since possibly like college days. So my Japanese is poor to say the least, but I will be getting better at it because eventually I will be traveling to Japan for sure, and hopefully building up a little bit of a base of fans and supporters and brethren, Mighty Reds Army out in Japan for sure, in Asia. Big up to Asia for sure. So so let's get into some more comments. So Chris Angel is saying, Ben Doak has provided Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp with another potential injury headache ahead of Saturday's Merseyside derby. Liverpool are waiting to discover the nature and extent of the damage. If that's the case, that's unfortunate to hear. I don't want to see that, especially to any of the youth players. I want to see them be able to get the opportunities, especially considering that we're playing in Europa. The youth is going to get their opportunities, and those games are important for them to be healthy and fit for. I don't have him starting. At most I had him possibly being on the bench. So, but uncertainty is another unwanted concern for Klopp as he grapples with availability issues for the weekend visit to Everton. Excuse me. He's also saying Doak was forced to. Oh, okay. He was forced to withdraw from the Scotland under-21 for their UEFA European under-21 Championship qualifier. I did not watch that against Malta. I'm sure that was an exquisite match on Tuesday. Evening, having suffered a fitness setback. Not good. That sounds like a hamstring or something to that extent. This is something that I agree with you completely. We need to score first. I agree. I think that if we score first, that means that most likely we'll either force them out of their defensive bubble, or it also means that they're just going to hunker down and hope and pray and wish even more so that they can get some type of lucky result. It is Loserton. I guess, I'm being respectful to Marion's husband, despite the thumbnail showing their future jersey adaptation. It's a funny thumbnail. If you look at the thumbnail, it's funny because it is pretty funny because they will be in that bottom half, and with their mindset of just 4-4-1-1. They're looking for draws and lucky wins, or not to say lucky wins, but defensive wins, we'll call them. Brentford does need Tony back ASAP. I think that it's very interesting. I know that Tony was suspended pretty harshly because of his betting. I know that we now have Newcastle fans and supporters in the chat, and I know that Tonali having been brought up not only in allegations but being found guilty of betting and him coming out and admitting that he has bet on games. We're going to be looking at a pretty lengthy ban for him. I think that he should get a lengthier ban, despite the fact that Tony denied it and then later admitted to it. And that's the reason why, if you say you're guilty at first, you get a lighter sentence. But if you're going to say you're not guilty and then be found guilty, you're going to get a harsher sentence. I still think, though, that the amount of games that Tonali they bet on is going to have an impact on the length of time that he is going to be expelled from contributing for Newcastle. Let's see. Dominic is made of glass. Not condoning anything. No, I'm not condoning anything either. But he is very, very suspect when it comes to his physicality, his ability to be physical, at least. Let's see what else we have. Darwin scored 1, and speaking on his performance against Brazil, big up to our ambassador. Definitely big up. This is something I mentioned earlier. Chris is saying something. This is Tsimikas' game. This is where he earns his stripes. I completely agree. I know a lot of people have a lot of trepidation when it comes to Tsimikas and his ability to not only play the role that Robbo has been, adjusting and adapting to, which is that, left back that transforms into somewhat of a left center back role when they do the inverted. And I think that this is a huge, huge game for him to show and properly represent. But I think that when it comes to these are some parts and points that I represented on before, and that is that when it comes to Tsimikas can tend to bring a little bit more offensive. I'm not saying that he's a better offensive player or he's a better player than Robbo. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying Robbo's a bad player at all. I'm saying that he just brings a little bit of a shade of more concentration or a shade of degree more when it comes to offense. And that's because he is definitely more offensive minded when it comes to going forward. But it doesn't take a knock against him defensively. He's a more aggressive defensive player than Robbo. I'm not saying that that's a good or a bad thing. Some could attribute that maybe to Robbo having a better understanding or concentration of his defensive skills and also defensive needs when he needs to bring a tackle in or when he needs to make things go forward. But a lot of people would say certainly that Robbo is a defensive stalwart when it comes to our fullback options, and possibly, if not the best defensive option that we have when it comes to fullbacks. But Tsimikas is going to be good. I like his ability to provide crosses. I like his ability to mix it up every once in a while, take a shot here or there. Not saying that he's an outright scorer, but I do like the fact that he does like to mix it up. He likes to get involved. I believe, tell me if I'm wrong again, people, I believe it was Tsimikas that gave Nunez his first goal, I think. I want to say that he gave him his first goal, actually. He gave him a cross, and I think Nunez's first goal was a header. I'm not positive, but I believe that was the case. But again, if I'm wrong, I don't mind being wrong and being corrected at all. If anything, I enjoy learning, and I just as much as I enjoy trying to enlighten and educate and teach. All right, so let's see, what other comments do we have here? No, it wasn't one of my 3 left now, and you shouldn't have given me You shouldn't. You still haven't given me the 3. I gave you the 3, brother. I gave you the 3 that I did. I even on the members show for for Coppish. Big up Team Coppish, of course. I did say what I believe is going to be the 3 that I would give up if forced to give a 3. If I had to be forced to sell 3 players. I'm very, very tactful, to say the least, when it comes to the players I'm talking about selling. All the same. So big up. I like how you gave a little senpai, big up. Endo for sure. Let's see. Brian's saying, I think they can score at some point, so I'll go 3-1. Okay, so we're going to scores. I didn't see that. But let's go into scores. Okay, cool. Brian's saying 3-1, but we should be beating them pretty easily. I agree completely. Let me bring up Philly Liverpool FC. Score prediction was I know he had them. Okay, right here. He has them as being, I think we win 1-0 or 2-0. We get in, we get out. We park the bus after the first goal is scored. I don't know if we will park the bus. I know that Everton will park the bus for sure. And I also know that those scores aren't a bad shout. I definitely am leaning towards us getting a I'm leaning towards us getting a shutout here. I want us to get us a clean sheet. I'd like to get us some more clean sheets. I'd like to start to add to the clean laundry that we need, or that not necessarily need, but we could definitely is a little feather in the cap when it comes to being able to get it. Let's see. Brian's saying exactly. We'll find out we'll find out on the pitch pretty soon when it comes to Simicast. I think we will for sure. It's a big problem. This is a very big problem, by the way, too. Tonali betting on his own team is also a big problem. I think it's a big problem because, there are some players out there. I remember one of the players that they mentioned, this is at least in Italy, in the Italian league, one of the players that was something about I think it was 3 million in the hole or something like that. And was getting to the point where, because this betting site that was they were giving him markers in the gambling terms is where you get it's kind of like it's where it's like credit. It's like credit basically. And, they were giving a lot of these players markers, or giving a lot of these people markers. And some of these guys are getting markers. This one player apparently had $3 million in the hole. It was getting to the point where he was not only betting on his team to win, he was betting on his team to lose. That's an issue. Especially when you're a player that can have an impact in that game. That's an issue. And again, it's the reason why I don't believe that. You just got to just say, if it comes to betting, all players, all time, all day should not be betting on games that involves the sport that they play in. Look, if you want to bet, go to the casino and make bets, cool. You want to bet on blackjack, cool. Or poker, you're a poker player, cool. If that's the way you kind of what they say, grind out the edge, or whatever they say. Or let's say you're betting on the NBA, or betting on Major League Baseball, or betting on cricket, whatever it is. That's cool. I don't really have too much of an issue when it comes to that. But when it comes to betting on football, and you're an actual football player, whether you're in the championship league, whether you're in the Premier League, whether you're in a separate league in itself, when it comes to what we're referencing for Reds, whether it means you're betting on something like on a circumstances, no, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. Brian's also speaking on Simicast. His 4 Premier League has 4 PL minutes this season. So let's get him 5 starts and judge him properly. That's very interesting. I didn't know it was that low. That's incredible. This is he's saying you took it far too seriously, dude. It was a fun game about signing 3 players, not taking them outside and shooting them. I got you. But to be honest with you, I would sell. And Chris Angel just told about the player I was talking about, and I'm going to bring up that reference. I would sell Nat Phillips only under the pretense that I want to see him start or get games. I believe that he did a real service for us, and it's just something that I would hope that he gets the opportunity to be able to showcase his talents with another team and be able to just, get starting play and be able to go on with his career rather than have to be in this limbo of not playing and constantly being placed on possible loans, which is where he's at today. And when it comes to Fabio, look, I have all due respect. I'm hoping that Fabio gets the idea and concept of playing or understanding that just because in your mind you think you're better or you think you deserve to play doesn't necessarily always mean that you should play. And when it comes to that, he's getting a wake-up call by playing for Red Bull, whereas he's not starting every game, he's not contributing or not being someone that's contributing. And once you get into that mindset where you're having that, I should be starting, and then you start bringing it out into the locker room, if you start presenting that we start saying that to the journals and everything else, that's not a positive aspect for the locker room. Look, everyone in their mind possibly thinks or wants to think that they should or could start. But realistically, not everyone's going to start. It's just impossible. So when it comes to that, and when you're in a position where you are, Fabio, where you are getting at a young age, I'm just saying, I have all hopes that his career blossoms. I have all hopes that he could come back to our club and be a positive influence and contributor. But you've got to have the right mentality of knowing about being a team player and wanting to contribute to the greater goal. If you're not going to be on that playing field or being in that mindset, then I don't think or want you'll be a part of this team. You're just not the right player mentality for this club, in my opinion. So therefore, I could see Fabio moving on if he doesn't bring back that adjusted mindset. And then, as far as who else did I have? Sepp Vandenberg, who else did I have? I think I had Sepp. Yeah, Sepp is a player that is starting to finally show. I just think that if there's anything I would do, I would say, hey, Sepp, thank you again for really putting in the work, putting in the effort. How about we allow for you to get a run or get some positive minutes, get an opportunity to play. The same way we did with Ryan Brewster or something like that. Get a player that was on that fringe and being someone that being able to start and go someplace else and get an actual starting opportunity. That's just how I see it. And I get it. You want me to name some of the players that we have, I did say, possibly a Matip could be in that role of being someone that we sold or something along those lines, but he's on the verge of being a free. So I know that he didn't necessarily retribute into that thing. So hopefully that puts that baby to bed. Let's get on with the show here and get on with the stat that I had, or the comment I did make. And I was saying, Chris Angel saying, you're talking about Nicolo Fagioli. Hopefully I said that right. He's in deep. Apparently he was trying to get the money back, but got deeper in the hole. Pause. For sure. I appreciate the pause too. And that's the truth. I mean, he was getting deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. And now, then all of a sudden, he was starting to bet on games that he could have impact, be an impact in. And that's where, again, it's that slippery slope. And that's something that you don't want to see enter the game and start to. We already have a question of integrity with this game, with the referees and with other concepts of how, the FA goes about with their punishments and everything else. I strongly suggest we don't go down that route when it comes to players utilizing betting as an access point to them getting more money into it. Let's see. I got you on that, Philly Liverpool. See, I believe you on that. Brian's saying that he doesn't believe that Fabio will play for Liverpool again. That's unfortunate too. It's very unfortunate. I have high hopes. He had that great last minute goal, a game winner for us against Newcastle. He also had some really promising displays with Fulham, and he's also been a player that, again, I think that there are times when your management, your team, your family, players, possibly your friends, possibly even just yourself, can be your worst enemy in giving you confidence, which is important. I get that. That's something that you want to do as an agent, as a friend within my having friends. I always try to give real sense of the word of giving encouragement to their game. But when it comes to Fabio, I just think that it's one of those cases where you could have a case where an agent or someone that is really impactful on your career or on your mindset or how you look at what you should be doing with your career. Sometimes it could be a negative impact, and that impact, for instance, like with Lavia or maybe with Cancedo, as they call him. You're seeing that right now. And again, Fabio, I'm really hoping that he gets it together and comes back with some humility. But again, I just don't necessarily see it happening. And that's a shame, because I really thought that the only thing I was hoping to see him do was get in the weight room, get a higher, this is if I was his agent, get in the weight room, get a really proper nutritionist involved in his life, and just really press on from there. Get some bulk to your frame, because not too much that it takes away from your agility and your abilities to do the things that you do with the ball control and dribbling, but get to a place where you're not getting muscled, off the ball, or you're able to possibly be a inclusion in the midfield, if not an inclusion in that front line. And that's something, because honestly, I know that he wants to play a 10. We often don't play a 10. It's a position that I would love to see us orchestrate. It's a position that we do play in a blue moon concept every once in a while, but it's a formation that we rarely play. And again, it's one that I was asking Klopp. I guess he wasn't answering my DMs, but I was asking Klopp to utilize when we had Bobby, but he rarely did so. But hey, it is what it is. I believe in Klopp. I know a lot of us in the chat, or people do. Some people don't. Some people are on the fence. All the same. But again, I love the dialogue. I love the interaction. So, okay, so I got a shout out for. I've got our score predictions. I believe my score prediction was 3-0. I had us winning 3-0. So I'm putting that out in the universe. 3-0, possibly 4-0. I don't think we'll get 4-0, because I think that it's very hard to score. It's very difficult to score against a defensive shell that they have. And I think if we win 4-0, then that's them obviously getting out of this shell, but also getting out of their game, and just basically it's going to get ugly if it gets to that case, which is unfortunate. I try to look for how many cards are going to be issued in this game. I don't think a lot of cards. I'm hoping a lot of cards aren't issued. Despite the fact that we have had a lot of red cards, a lot of those games have been the games that we've gotten a lot of cards, the games that we've gotten cards in have been the games that we've primarily gotten a lot of cards in, and that's why, other than that, we've been a pretty decent-minded team when it comes to not picking up cards or unnecessary cards. Let's see, Philly Liverpool FC is saying, shouldn't Mac be our number 10 because he wears a number 10? Yeah, I agree. That'd be kind of cool, for sure. And then this last statement is, I don't get Klopp out people. It's weird. You know what? I do get Klopp out people under this pretense. Those people tend to be the ones that either want to be the smartest person in the room, so they try to bring up some out of left field type comment or prediction or grievance or something stupid, where they'll say it and then they'll just run with it, and that way it distinguishes them from the group, rather than be a part of the group and be with the happy members of the group. They tend to just say, Klopp is this and Klopp is that, and they want to get him out. So it's very interesting. I think some people also just have agendas, and I went toe to toe with someone, and unfortunately, something that I'll be more mindful of is that I have a setup where I have a camera on my computer. I have a individual camera. My individual camera has a microphone in it. I have a microphone in my computer. I have all these different components and gadgets coming that are attached to my computer here. And sometimes my computer, I know, for instance, Sideline Football. I didn't say biggest shout out because I did see him in here also. Sideline Football Show. Big up. If you haven't subscribed to any of the people that are on here, whether it's Sideline Football Show, who now has Brian doing co-hosting the shows with him, which is excellent to see. Whether it's Chris Angel, who goes by also the name Bajan Angel because he ends up representing with the Bajan Reds TV crew. Whether it's Philly Liverpool FC, who does talk about wrestling. He talks about sports in general. Oh, big up, Statman Stubbs. I did not see you in the chat. My apologies. Statman Stubbs, great guy. Really does do exactly that, which is get into the stats and break down a lot of different things for you. Really great content, excellent content. A lot of cool content creators. It's a great community that we're in. And I appreciate the fact that they do support and they do bring out, different aspects of insights. And I like the interactions that we have, especially when they join the dialogue on, whether it's live or in the chat or vice versa, when they invite me on to their platforms and I'm able to give my opinions or give my insights. Because, Statman Stubbs is great. Baz with LVFC TV is great as well. I know, I don't know if Quasi hasn't said hello, but I think Quasi always tends to watch my broadcast as well for Quasi Bowl TV. Also a great person to engage with if you're looking at going into other things. The Nature Boy, who also goes by Savage, who also goes, AKA many names, the Nature Boy has Savage Talk Sports. He has insights that he brings out with Ensman TV. He does Hugo Online, where he goes into movies and series and such on television. Savage is a great guy. I like engaging with his content. I like engaging with his opinions. We do, I would say 75, if not 80% of the time, see eye to eye, because he's someone that definitely is supports the Reds to the point where we tend to defend the Reds against a fan base that has definitely started to swing back towards being positive as opposed to negative, which is what we were seeing during our run, our bad form of run, or bad run of form, I should say. But again, a lot of great content creators, a lot of great people in here. Big up to Paul. Big up, Paul. Just keep the faith, Everton fans, for sure. For sure. Appreciate the fact that you're tuning in. I haven't said anything super, super negative about Everton. So it's good to see that Everton are joining the chat and trying to, bring a little bit of their insight into the chat. Let's see. Yes, I know he does go by many names. Loverboy Naked Gun. That name is special in itself. But okay, let me get into these subs real quick. We already got down our score predictions. Again, I had 3-0. I believe Philly Liverpool FC said 1-0, 2-0. I know that, let's see. I think Brian said 3-1. Any other score predictions also before you can just drop them in? Yeah, Brian said 3-1. He believes that they are going to get a goal in there. Definitely give me your score predictions. Love to see them. Every once in a while, you know what? I take a runner on even taking one of the scores, if not the consensus score that the chat does, and put a bet out there on that as well. Try to definitely cover all my bases. Let's see. As far as subs, if Gravenberch does start, cool. That means that McAllister will be on the bench. If McAllister starts, that means that Gravenberch, I believe, most likely will be on the bench. I have, okay, big up. I like it, Marion. Marion has us 3-0. That's what Marion has it. I forgot. You can't, yeah. Chris can't forget that nickname. We all know. Despite him using him more than being one. But he's my Sicario. So on the bench, you're going to notice that because we don't have Kelleher, we're going to have Adrian on the bench. We're going to have Happy Kwanzaa on the bench. Let's see who else we might have. If Doak is a question, that's unfortunate. It's going to be interesting. So then let's see. Help me filling out the bench here, because it's going to be interesting to see who we bring, who we include, and who we have as, like, possibly we might be in a position or place where we're going to put someone that's doubtful. Like, for instance, we might have Hackbo on the bench but not include him in the game, despite the fact that he's like one of those things where it's like similar to, there was a game, for instance, that Ambassador was a part of, and Ambassador was I think it was right after the national break, and he had questions. He got subbed out early in the Uruguay match because of fitness concerns, and then we ended up playing him later. Big up, Nilante. Big up. This is one of my generals over in the UK for the Mighty Red Army. Big up. And also big up to the family. Hope your family's well. Nilante's got a newborn, and I personally, I don't have any children, but I know being a recent uncle. I'm an uncle now. I know what it's like, or somewhat what it's like with the pressures of having a newborn and everything. It could be sleepless nights, to say the least. But again, help me out with this. With the lineup, with our bench. So let's go with Konate. So we're gonna have to come up with 9 players, obviously, for our bench. So let's go with if we're gonna start Matip, Konate. If we're gonna start Gravenberch, McAllister. Gomez, for sure. That's a third. Happy Kwanzaa, I think, is going to get on the bench. Who else would be on the bench? I think Luke Chambers will be on the bench for this match. Yes, may the force be with him too, by the way. Sixth player would be Adrian, as I said earlier. Now we're at these last three. So possibly I would see Hackbo being on the bench, considering we saw him on the training pitch. It leaves two more. If we're not going to have Doak, wow, I was not expecting this. Nilante, elaborate more, please. Please do elaborate more. Please elaborate more for Trent on the bench. I'm just reading Marion's comment. Marion's so cute. She said, "Can you tell me if it's just me that when you said Adrian, I went, oh God, no." Yes, adios mios, right? Or I think that's how you say it, right? Yeah, so it's something like that. Even my Spanish is poor. I got to pick up on my languages. I gotta get some Rosetta Stone in my life or something like that. Yeah. So let's see. Says, oh yeah, wifey doing my head in, not just sleepless nights. I bet it's not just sleepless nights, but that newborn is adorable, and I wish you the best. With that blessing in your life and with your addition to your family. So we're looking at two spots still open for the bench. I'm not benching Trent, obviously. Gomez will be on the bench. So who are those two spots? We have two openings on the bench. If Doak's not going to be on the bench, and obviously Simicast is starting, and Robbo is on the injury list. Who do we have in those two open spots? That's going to be a very interesting question. Who do we have in those positions? I'm thinking, yeah. We bring back. Is this the game we bring back Nabby and Ox? so that what? So they can get injured on the bench or something. They can get injured in warm up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to say two players that we would see in that position, because Cujo's not going to be a possibility. I believe Connor is not available. That's a really, really interesting question, as to where or who we see being in those two empty bench spots. Who do you guys have in those two empty bench spots? That's a really good question. It's a very good question, because I don't necessarily. I mean, we could possibly see some players that are going to get that are some two youth players that weren't expecting to get the opportunity to sit bench, but they're just going to sit bench just to kind of sit bench. Did I not say Elliott? My fault. So yeah, Elliott is going to be. I don't have Elliott starting, so Elliott will be the 8th spot. We have one more position left, which is cool. Who is that next spot then? Who is that next spot? And I'm going to star your comment, Nilante, about why you're benching Trent, because I would love to. It's going to be a very interesting read. But who is that? Who gets that golden ticket, as we call it, the Liverpool Reds, Mighty Reds golden ticket, to be a player that we did not expect to be on the bench, but is going to be an inclusion on the bench. I think that's going to be a very interesting placement, because again, I do think that we are going to see someone in that role that we normally don't get to see. I don't think we're going to see Pachetic, only because I think Pachetic had a slight setback to to his road to full recovery. So yeah. So I don't think we'll see that. I just, according to the information that Chris gave us, I don't think we'll see Doak being that player for that golden ticket that I'm calling it, that the senior call up golden ticket. I don't think we'll see that that play or that position. We're going to see it's going to be someone. But despite the fact that Brian's calling it a random kid, I think it's going to be someone that there is some reason why he's getting the actual call up. And that's something that I personally, when I do see those circumstances, those are circumstances that I tend to keep note of, because it's the reason why, you see those things. Like, are we going to see maybe, I know you're saying Clark. I don't know if Clark is available, to be honest with you. But maybe we see Fabian. Maybe we see Fabian get that call up, which will be interesting. Do I see Fabian even seeing the this Fabian? If Fabian were to get this opportunity, it would most likely be him getting it because of he just wanted to get a closer look at the pitch, because I don't see him getting onto the pitch. But again, it's a very interesting name, his last name at least, but he's a goalkeeper, so I don't know if we're going to carry two goalkeepers, because I know that for the Union game we ended up carrying, I want to say, 3 goalkeepers in that game, because I think we had Yaros, who's a goalkeeper, and we had Fabian as a goalkeeper on our lineup. But then that's a little bit of a extended bench when it comes to Europe. But again, Luke Chambers, I think, will be on the bench. It's a really good question, people. Before we bounce out of here, let's try to see if we can get a shout for who we think is going to be that player. I know you keep saying anyone, randomly anyone, but I want to really give a good idea or concept as to who we might actually see in this role. Again, I don't know if I don't know of a name. I don't have a name out there that we possibly would do. But if you do, please leave it in the comments. It's going to be very interesting. I don't think we'll go 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. I don't think that we would. I don't think that we should, obviously. But okay, Brian. He's like, that's not what I'm saying, dude. Very American of you. Very American of you. I don't know. Do you guys say dude over in Ireland a lot? I didn't know that. He's saying, I meant pick any kid and he could be the one it is. Oh, and I feel you. I wasn't saying it that way. And I wasn't saying you're saying it in a bad way. I wasn't saying that at all, Brian. If anything, I was saying that I think that, I think there's going to be an opportunity to kind of give, when you are on that starting lineup as a youth, it's a huge confidence builder. It's something that, despite you might not even getting an opportunity to play, your family's going to go there so they can point out and say, that's my son in, sitting on the bench. It's an opportunity. Just even if you're not, it's an opportunity. Even if you don't get a start or even get a cap, it's still an opportunity for a very big boost to your confidence, or just ability, confidence for your abilities going forward. So that's all I'm saying. So I think that's why I'm saying it'd be very interesting to see who we do bring out in that final role, because if anything, there's there really, other than Luke Chambers, there really hasn't been a youth player. Obviously Kwanzaa has gotten his starts because of injury. Who else do we even consider a youth? Bichetic has gotten a couple of starts because they're trying to get him back into form. I don't really consider Cujo or Elliott youths, but they are part of the younger group. They've gotten their runs in, but there's really not that many players that have gotten actual, whether it's cup games or even Europe. Primarily, it's been the players that I've just mentioned, that have gotten those runs, and that's why I'm saying it's going to be very interesting to see who we end up putting into that role for the games for this game coming up, because of obviously Cujo not being able, because of the red cards, because of Hakpo's questionable fitness, because of obviously the players that we have out. Because of injury, because of outright injury, being Bichetic, being Thiago. It's going to be interesting to see who we put in as that ninth. I think that Clark could be a good shout. I like Clark as a player. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but I do like Clark as a player. I don't think he went out on loan, by the way, too, but I'd have to double check on that. But yeah, I'd like to see Clark get an opportunity to sit, at least sit bench. I think that he deserves it if he's available for selection, and he's someone that, hey, if we are winning well enough or big enough, you could see one of those youth players getting an opportunity to come in and actually start or play. Especially if we end up conceding a goal, but we still have a nice enough lead, like a 3-1, as Brian suggested, or a 4-1 or something like that. And yeah, it could be that case. Oh, and let me just go on this last part and point. So this is what Nilante said, that Trent for me, 12, just the same defensive defaults. I start Gomez ahead of him, been more informed. Trent needs to be in the middle now. I get what you're saying. I don't see us migrating from the inverted in this match, primarily because the 4-4-1-1 that they're going to be playing, again, it's more like a 4-5-1. And I think because of that, we're going to probably utilize a back four, but we're also going to press that inverted role more heavily, because we're not going to have to worry about somewhat more of them having a front three to contend against. And also we're going to be able to we're going to have to be able to contend against a midfield numerically that we're going to be going up against possibly 5, if not 6 in the midfield. If not, and occasionally, that back line will be 4, if not 5, if not 6 on occasion. So all those things said, that's what I see happening. Big up again if you're joining in late. Okay, so Nilante's Clark is from what I'm hearing. I think Clark probably will be that final inclusion. I definitely agree with you on that. But again, I'm looking for a good game. I'm looking for a clean sheet. So Alisson, if you hear me, all we need is maybe 1 or 2 world-class saves. That's probably the most that they'll get in opportunity-wise to get on shots. That's not. I know a lot of people don't like putting that kind of pressure on our goalkeeper, but our goalkeeper is the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion, in a lot of other people's opinions as well. And I also like Hata to be a scoring threat in this game. I got you. Go Phillies. You never walk alone. Reds for sure. Philly, Liverpool FC. And I believe the Phillies are visiting Arizona, the Diamondbacks. 3-0 score I have. I'm looking for Hata to be a major contributor in the scoring box. I'm not going to tell you how many goals. I don't want to jinx that one if I'm jinxing anything. And other than that, I think it's been a good session here, people. We're at the 135, so we're at the 90th minute. We're going a little bit of extra time, but that's pretty much all I wanted to get into with the preview. I think that's going to be a fun match. I think that also not only is it going to be a fun match, but it's going to be I'll move Virgil over a little bit more so you can see Virgil yelling 3-0 clean sheet. That's what Virgil's yelling in my ears. I hear you, Virgil. I hear you, my captain. So yeah, we're looking at we already showed you the starting lineup. I'm looking at a starting lineup of Salah, Hatta, Diaz, looking at Dom, Endo, Gravenberch, Trent, Matip, Virgil, and Simicast, and Alisson as the goalkeeper. I'm looking at a bench again of Konate, Gomez, Adrian, Luke Chambers, Happy Kwanzaa. Looking at what are the players I just mentioned? Now there's one blank on them. Obviously Hakpo, Elliott, Clark, and who was my ninth? And McAllister, since I have Gravenberch starting. So that's who I have as being the subs and who I have as the starting lineup. Score predictions. Again, if you're watching this on replay, please leave your comments. Score predictions, who you think's going to be man of the match, who you think's going to get on the scoring sheet. Leave all that information on the comments. I love to engage. If you have things that you want to say to me, or things that you want to questions you want me to research, or things that you want me to maybe types of shows you want to see, or things that you want to engage in, please tell me. I think that okay, Milante has it as our default score of 3-1, which tends to be our default score for a lot of cases. I'm hoping to get that clean sheet, brother. I like the 3. I would like to see us get that clean sheet. And he has Salah. Oh, wow. Salah, Gomez, and McAllister scoring. That would be very, very interesting. That's a really good show. I'll have to see what that same game parlay ends up being. And that's that, people. Appreciate you joining. Please pass this on to your friends, your family, rivals, neutrals, does not matter. You know, if your dog, your cat, even if your fish has their own page or site, please have them, subscribe. So I'm sure they're loyal Reds fans too. So get to become a part of the Mighty Reds Army here. Fun bunch of people to be associated with when it comes to engaging, and always a group in my mind that will walk on with you. And that's the most important aspect of it, because that's the song You'll Never Walk Alone is not some it's not just an anthem. You know, it's more than that. It's an intention, and it's an intention for, at least for myself and for a lot of the Mighty Reds Army that you see in the chat, or that you see in the comments, or that you engage with in your everyday life. Look, we support each other. We walk on with each other. We always have Reds in our hearts, and that's why I enjoy the fact of being a part of this community, part of what I believe is one of the greatest clubs in the world. And I appreciate the fact that I get the opportunity to walk on with such great people as yourself. And with that said, people, I appreciate the time, and I will see you on the bounce. Until then, walk on, my brothers, walk on.